Hey there, garden friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm, and today we're talking about worm tea. Worm tea, or vermicompost tea, is made using worm castings, or worm poop, basically. If you saw my worm bin video, which I will try to link up here, you'll know that there are worm castings inside your worm bin. And the reason I'm not using some today, I'm going to use a dried product, which you could get, and they're usually really good. This one is from the Urban Worm Company, which is in Southern California, so at least in my state. But normally I would use worm castings, fresh worm castings from my worm bin. However, my worms are new and they haven't completely started making enough castings for me yet, but that will come along over the next couple of months. So, worm compost tea. Why? Oh, and we're going to get a visit from Raven. Why would you want to make worm compost tea? So it has a number of benefits. One thing is it repopulates the soil with beneficial microbes. Those beneficial microbes do all kinds of things in the soil for our plants. They help our plants be more resistant to disease and pests. One of the reasons our plants succumb to disease and pests is that they're not 100% healthy. When we can increase the health of our plants, then they are more resistant to being attacked by pests and disease. So it's one of the reasons why towards the end of the season, your annuals like tomatoes or zinnias get powdery mildew, because they've kind of expended all of their health. They're just wrapping it up. And so they are more prone to get something like that. It's the same with humans, right? That the healthier we are, the easier we can fight off disease. So that's one of the things that it can do for you. It can also lower the pH of your soil just a little bit. It's not like using elemental sulfur or another soil acidifier, but for people like me with super alkaline soils, that's a really great benefit. It also helps to sequester heavy metals, which is another thing that's wonderful. So this is all really good for the environment, and Raven's going to come back because there's something for her to sit on here, a cloth. Finally, it helps with water retention in your soil. So if you are using this consistently, and we'll talk about all of that towards the end of the video, your soil will be able to retain moisture better. And so if you are facing a lot of heat or an extended drought, your plants have a little bit better chance of securing the moisture that they need through the soil if you're consistently using worm compost tea. And then also, if you use it as a foliar feed, as a foliar spray, it will help your plant produce more foliage, and it will provide stronger stems, which is wonderful for a flower farmer. You want strong stems. Okay, so how do you make it? It's very, very easy. Anybody can do this. So I have a gallon jar here. What are you doing? I have a gallon jar here. It is full of filtered water. Rainwater is best. If you can use rainwater, please use it. However, in California, we get very, very little rain, maybe 8 to 12 inches for the whole year if we're lucky. And so I have to rely on my municipal water source, which treats the water, just like all municipal water sources. They treat the water to make sure that you don't get sick when you drink it. So if your municipal water source treats with chlorine, you can just leave your container of water out for 24 hours and that chlorine will off-gas. However, if, like my water, is treated with chloramine, that process will not work. You cannot off-gas chloramine. So in that case, you either need to use the treatments that we use for fish tanks to make the water safe for fish, or if you have a really good filtration system in your house. So we have an under-sink filtration system that provides water that has been de-chlorinated. Okay, so the reason you want to use de-chlorinated water is that chlorine is in there to kill bacteria and viruses, right? So if you're putting in worm castings, compost tea that has active biology in it, all you're going to do is kill that biology. So you're really not doing anything good. So Make sure your water is chlorine free. So you'll need water, unsulfured molasses, and I don't know what the cause of sulfur in the molasses could do something. Clearly it's something negative, but I did lots of internet searching and I couldn't figure out why it had to be unsulfured molasses, but there it is. So the reason we use molasses is that the molasses feeds the soil microbes in the worm compost, in the worm vermicasting. And so it actually makes for a even more nutrient-rich compost tea. It's not required, but it is a food source. So how much? Nobody really measures this. I'm gonna do a glug. There we go. Raven. This is my cat Raven, if you haven't already met her, and she's always into everything. Okay, so stir this up a little bit. All right, so as I said, this is going to provide a food source for the microorganisms that are in the vermicast. Now, this vermicast, or worm compost, is dry. That's not a problem. Your fresh vermicast would not be dry, it would be moist. But let me see if I can show you what this looks like. Kind of looks like coffee. Kind of looks like ground coffee. It's beautiful. It's compost. Doesn't have any odor at all. And then Raven, I need to use this, sweetheart. Sorry. Here, let's give you something else to sit on. How about this? I'm gonna sit on this. There you go. No, I need that. I need that. She likes rubber bands. Okay, so then we're just going to put, this is a very accurate measurement, just roughly a handful. I'm gonna put it in this cheesecloth. I also have used like knee-high pantyhose. That works too. Or any kind of fabric. Basically, you are making a little sachet. Where's that rubber band in my pocket? Yes, there you go. You can sit on that. Oh, nope. She's such a little stinker. You're such a little stinker. Okay, so I'm gonna put this into the water. It will start soaking up water and then it'll sink. And then the last ingredient is really a piece of equipment. It's a fish tank bubbler. So all this is, I think this was like $5. It's what you use to aerate the water. And the reason you want to do this is that it keeps things circulating in there. Number one, it keeps the oxygen in the water. Let me plug this in real quick. Keeps the water oxygenated and it keeps things moving so you don't get any stagnation. This really only takes about 24, maybe 36 hours, and then it's done. I have a label. I mean, I know what it is, but just in case anybody in my family is like, I don't know, is that drinkable? No, it is not. It's not gonna make you sick, but it probably won't taste very good. Okay, that's vermicompost tea. All right. You can cover it if you want with another piece of cheesecloth, but that's not really important. This won't really draw a whole bunch of bugs or anything like that. And if you're inside, then that's fine. So this I will sit aside and just let it do its thing for the next 24 to 36 hours. I'll check on it. And then how do you use it? So here you go. You want to get back on your little bed? There you go. Okay. So to use it, you're going to dilute it. So this goes a long way. If you're making a gallon, it can, depending on the size of your garden, it can go a long way. So for me, I have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. So the ratio is 1 part worm tea to 4 parts water. So that is whether you're doing it in a tiny little watering can or a 2-gallon watering can, or in my case, a backpack sprayer, the ratio is always the same. 1 part tea to 4 parts water. Okay, so how do you apply it? You can do this as a soil drench. In other words, it's just like you're watering the soil all around your plants in the garden. That gets it directly to the roots. Or you can do it as a foliar spray, meaning you spray the roots, the leaves of all of your plants and flowers, etc. When you do it as a foliar spray, the plant takes it up differently than it does when you soil drench. And so they're both beneficial. They both do good things. You can also add this to your compost pile to speed up decomposition. Because it's full of biology, that will help speed up the whole process of composting in your compost pile. What do you want to do with the compost tea bag when you're done with it? Spread it under some plants. You don't want to throw it away. It's still good. It still has good stuff in it. And the other thing you can do with it is I use compost tea, worm compost tea, to make my soil blocks when I start seeds. I also mix a little bit of worm castings in to my soil blocking mix. So the seedlings are starting off right away with very gentle fertilizer that helps make them stronger as they grow. You could also do this in potting mix. You could add this be how you wet down your potting mix as you're going to pot things up. How often should you do this? Every 2 weeks is a really good schedule. I actually alternate because I feed my plants, it's not necessarily fertilizer, but I feed them or give them a soil amendment, give the soil an amendment every week. So 1 week it's fish emulsion, then I do vermicompost tea. Then it's fish emulsion, then vermicompost tea. But you can do just the vermicompost, that's totally fine. So about every 2 weeks is great. And again, over time, it will help improve your soil structure. It is providing millions of positive, beneficial microbes for your garden to help strengthen that mycelium network, and it's just beneficial for your plants in general. So I hope you learned something today about making compost tea, and you can see how easy it is. You just need a few things, a big jar to hold the water, unfiltered water, or de-chlorinated water, worm castings, and a fish bubbler. Super easy. Oh, and some molasses if you want to go that route too. Super easy. You can do it every other week, and your garden will thank you. So thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.